welcome Judith to the Stories Behind Empowered Women series, and we met some time ago. I actually came to one of your workshops, and although I was a bit hesitant at first, I just thought, well, it's going to be one of those vocal coaching courses that I've done before. I was amazed at the transformation I personally went through, and also that helped me with my business as well. So can you just explain what you do before we dive into your story?
Yeah, I am a vocal confidence specialist and sound healer. So what I do is I combine my skills as an actress, so a classically trained actress, and as a sound healer with my skills as a professionally qualified coach. And I bring all of that together to reconnect people to who they really are so that you can find your true voice. And the most important thing for me is it's about being able to speak or express yourself with confidence, with clarity, with conviction, no matter the situation, because it's not just public speaking. For me, I truly, truly, truly believe all speaking is public speaking, because you're making your inner thoughts, your feelings public to someone else. So whether that's friends, family, or whether it is a conference of 1,000 people, the same challenges and nerves or thoughts or blockages can come up, and my job is to help people be aware of what they are and then have the tools and the techniques to be able to manage them, to work with them and through them so that they can still say what it is they need to say.
So do you feel that that actually alters the dynamics of relationships as well? Because what I have noticed is that there is a different sort of level of clarity when conversing with people now, and whereas sometimes there's that frustration with certain people that sort of get your skin sort of to that point where you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this. But it is a deepening of relationships and that communication process with everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this really works across the board. People come to me for public speaking coaching, for example. One man came to me, his wife recommended me to him. She and I had met in a Facebook group. And he is a really, really, really strong introvert, hates public speaking, but agreed to be his brother's best man, and then realized that meant the best man speech. And so we did, we worked in a slightly different way, but on our phone call, which was really difficult. I've never had such a difficult phone call because he just hates speaking to new people so much.
Oh, bless him.
But I managed to elicit from him. I said, okay, so we could just work on this wedding speech, but can I ask, does not expressing yourself or does speaking to other people affect you in other areas of your life? And he was like, oh well, yes, at work and da. So we agreed to do a half-day intensive to get to what the challenge is, and then he did a 60-day program. And it wasn't until the last 3 sessions of that 60-day program that we actually worked on the best man speech. But after the first session, after the half-day intensive, I got a message from his wife saying, oh my God, I don't know what you've said to him. I don't know what you've done to him, but thank you so much. I can see the difference already, even in the way he's speaking with me. And it completely changed the way he was at work. It meant he could go to a party and not have to have 4 or 5 pints of Guinness before he could speak to people. He went to a conference where he met other people and was able to have a conversation. So yeah, it really affects your work relationships, your home relationships, and your relationship with yourself.
So, I mean, for me personally, I knew what my fear was, and that was what I was taught as a child, not to speak up, because it was dangerous to do that. So I kept quiet, and so for me, when my business started to get to a level where I had to go out more publicly, I'd done it safely, but when it was becoming a bigger deal for me, the fears were really coming up. So is that part of the process that you work with? Is that a very integral part of what you do to help to unlock that deep-rooted fear from way back?
Yeah, very much. And as you experienced, I do it to a small degree on the 2-day workshop because it's a group thing, and You know, it can be, some people like yourself have been through some big stuff, and you actually were very brave and came up and did the one-on-one example work, which is why you managed to get that extra bit out of the workshop. But yeah, it's, for me, that's what makes the difference, the biggest difference, for how I work and how other vocal coaches work. Well, there's that and the sound healing, of course. But it's about not taking you into the trauma of whatever it was that happened. For some people, it is a big traumatic experience that has happened in their past. For other people, it is an incident and they've completely forgotten that actually wasn't a massive incident. I had one lady who I worked with who, she would take beta blockers every Thursday before the team meeting because she'd get so nervous about having to share something that she'd been working on. And that wasn't even standing up and presenting in front of the group. It was sitting at the table, going around the table. And she was taking beta blockers every week for this team meeting. But when we worked together, we found that her thing was when she was at school, she was asked to, she had to read something out on the tannoy system. And one of the nuns, because she went to a Catholic school, was sat there looking at her while she was reading it, and she felt like she was under scrutiny. And she'd completely forgotten this. But when we did the little bit of work and we got under and we got into like, what is, you know, what does it feel like? When was the first time? She was like, oh, it's really, oh, I've completely forgotten about that. She said, that's how I feel. I feel like someone is doing this.
Which can be so intimidating.
And so every time she spoke, it's that. So for me, yeah, that's definitely, when people do the deep work with me, that's where we go, okay, what is the incident? Because when you know the incident, you go, oh, okay, I'm not that 9-year-old, that 7-year-old, that 13-year-old, whatever it is. You can have a conversation, and that you then have the ability to know knowing what it is, because so many people like yourself is like, wait a minute, I do public speaking. Why am I suddenly getting nervous about it? Why am I suddenly getting apprehensive about going and speaking to these people? And for everyone, it could be a different thing. It could be being asked to do bigger presentations at work. It could be, I've worked with people who have avoided promotion because they know that a promotion means they're going to have to lead team meetings, or they're going to have to go to conference and deliver a seminar. It could be like yourself, that you're stepping up a level, and this level's comfortable because you know the audience know less than you, but this level, you might be dealing with people who you perceive are on a different level. Or I work with someone who runs an international company. She's an entrepreneur, she's got her own international company. She's spoken to 8,000 people in the past. But she went to an event where there were 25 other women who were all business leaders and out there and doing stuff, and she went, I can't do that. I can't speak it. I can't stand. Who am I to stand up and speak to them? Because it was peer fear, but it was also they're my peers, and oh my God, but they're so much better than me. So it depends what the situation is, but everyone has something, and when you know what you're dealing with, where it is that those nerves come from, it's much easier to manage.
That I think that's where it takes your work to a different level, because when I've worked with voice coaches before, I had to do some television work, and it was great. So but we really didn't dive into anything, and we had to do it very quickly. And this actually helps most people to understand that there is always going to be some fear at some level. Why is it somebody can climb a mountain and somebody else is absolutely petrified? We all have fears that are relative to our past experience, but the deepest gift that we have is that ability to communicate with others. And so you must have such a rewarding life because of the people that you work with and seeing the transformation. So what kind of clients do you say? You've spoken about a lot of different people at different levels. Do you have kind of a set of people that come to you on a regular basis, or is it just a wide variety?
It is really a wide variety, and that's really annoying for those of us who are self-employed or running our own businesses, because you're always told niche, find your ideal client, create your client avatar. But I've realized that my client avatar is someone who is ready to step up to the next level.
Yeah.
Either in their life or in their business. That is the similar thread that runs through it. And there is also another thread, which is those who have grown up in a society or culture or atmosphere of having their voice suppressed or not being expected to have a voice or an opinion. When I say a voice, I often mean an opinion.
Yes.
So those tend to be the two factors that run through, because like I said, I mean, the guy who I talked about, he's a chippy. He's an Irish carpenter who is not my client avatar. But oh my God, I was just, he sent me a bunch of flowers after he'd done the best man speech. His wife surreptitiously sent me a little video of it saying, don't tell him I've done this, but look how amazing, because she was so proud. She again said, oh God, thank you so much, because now we can go to parties and it's so much easier. And yeah, and then there's Sammy, who runs her own international company, flying around the world speaking. So that isn't the same, but ready to step up to the next level in life or business, that's when they come to me, because it's, and having had or feeling like their voice isn't worth hearing, or that's the two things that run through it. Because, but you're right, it's just, I'm so proud of all my people, and the way that it transforms their life is just, yeah, amazing.
It really surprises me, because you know, I look at, you can look at a room full of people and you can see that there are, you know, very successful people in that room, and people who perhaps haven't reached that success level that they want to reach. But it's amazing when you really know the stories behind people, and how actually they may have success, which we perceive from the outside, but actually they're so limited by, as you say, that going to that next level, and it cripples them.
Yeah.
And I see this in everyday life. I see it through friends and neighbours and our community. You know, and it's not sort of widely understood, is it, that there is this ability to help to bring, you know, the whole voice to the surface. You also do sound healing as well. Is that something you incorporate into your work, or do you do that separately? Is that something different?
I do incorporate it, especially on the intensives,
Right.
but also a bit as you experienced on the 2-day workshop. It comes into that. So it is incorporated in the vocal confidence work, and it is also its own separate entity.
Right.
So, for example, I run sound healing retreats, and I do sound healings on people as a healing modality. But actually, even the sound healing retreats, people who come on that are people who are wanting to find their voice. Yeah. Because it's about where the energetic vibration is held in your body. And as you play with your own voice vibration and you start shifting that energy, which is the healing part of it. For me, healing is a change in energy, and therefore a change in how you mentally, physically, and emotionally react or respond to something. Right. So when you shift that, you have a release. And release is always a healing. And so people come on that retreat and start expanding their voice, more embodying their voice, so their voice is more audible, more solid. They start discovering where they're hiding the emotional things so that they can speak with more confidence. So they both weave together. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you said you trained as a classic actress. So what came first? Did you understand about the voice first, or did you find this and discover this through your work as an actress? And just take us back. Why did you want to do this work anyway? What was it about becoming so visible, going on stage, going on a screen, you know, and playing these roles? What is it that led you down that path? I always wanted to be I'm a natural actress. I'm a natural speaker. I'm actually a natural singer, but singing was my personal vocal confidence challenge. Right. So I love singing, but there was a class in school when I was 9 where we were singing, and the teacher said, now open your mouths wider. So I did. And I don't know why these 3 friends weren't in that bit. Maybe I can't remember what it was. But these 3 girls sat there, and as we were singing and opening our mouths wider, they looked at me and went, "Mm." And I thought, oh God, you know, now they're making fun of me and I'm not going to belong. And then my baby brother would make fun of me when I was singing. And, oh, shut up, I'm not again. So it never stopped me, by the way. I still had singing lessons and I still auditioned for musicals. But when I used to audition for musicals, my whole body would literally shake like that. And if your body's shaking, your voice is shaking. And then you can't hit the right notes, because in singing, there are right and wrong notes. So I wouldn't get the lead roles that I wanted. I normally end up sort of with a small role, but I never got those lead roles that I really wanted. So that was my vocal confidence challenge. But I'm a natural performer. I come alive on stage. It's part of my I don't belong belief, and so it's creating somewhere where you do belong, and it's part of my I'm not good enough belief. So you stand there and people applaud you, so therefore you've been good. But yes, since I can remember, I used to put on shows for my family when I was a kid. I used to make my baby brother do balancing acts with me and puppet shows. So I've been lucky. I've always had a voice, and even when people have tried to reduce my voice, I have never really accepted that. And so I was in the public speaking team at school, and I actually won it on speaking about the legalization of marijuana. So acting was always the only thing I was going to do.
So do you believe that we play out our roles that we want to play as adults, you know, as children, and all the clues are there in childhood about what our purpose is, what our role is?
I believe so for most people. It's just most people aren't, I don't know, as lucky as I am to be as naturally forthright as I am, or stubborn, or willing to go, no, actually. But I do think, yeah, but it's an exploration. I think I'm lucky. I think most people, the way the system works is that, I heard someone else say this, and I can't remember who it was. So forgive me for not quoting who they are. But they said it's that thing of the system gives you extra lessons in the stuff that you're not good at normally. So for example, I wasn't great at maths. Most families would have given me extra maths lessons because I wasn't good at maths. I was always really good at English. I've always been a writer. I've written poetry and stories since I could write. I had extra English lessons because I was getting bored in English, so my mum gave me extra English lessons. So there's a difference in mentality. I'm really blessed that actually my natural talents were nurtured.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, well, you're not good at science and maths, so let's get you extra maths and science lessons. So I do think there are clues.
Yes.
It's just that society has brought it. I think the person I first heard this from was Ryan Pennock from Natural Success, Super Genius. That's where it was. So society doesn't nurture our natural abilities, our natural skills.
Our genius potential. This is what I see, because I work with children from about the age of 8 when they're really coming to their own and discovering what it is their genius potential. And I think there's about 8 different genius potentials,
right.
Which is why it's very difficult when we're stuck in a classroom of 30 kids and we're all learning the same curriculum, and then we're told that we're not doing good enough because our genius potential happens to, we happen to be failing at. So, because of that, because of our upbringing without the schooling system, there are a lot of people who haven't had that nurturing. And, for you, that was your thing anyway. Communication and bringing your whole voice to the surface was your thing. A lot of people have a genius potential, but they don't have the courage to speak up or to take that bold step. So they still need the communication. So again, it could be sitting there in the periphery, knocking on their door saying, this is what you need to be doing, this is your purpose. What would you say to people to encourage them, I guess, to say, look, okay, why don't you just take a look and see and take a bold step to start, allowing that to come to the surface? What is it that we can do perhaps to let the voice come up, to allow themselves to start taking those steps forward?
I think the clue is see what comes easily to you, because the stuff that's easy is often connected to your genius potential.
Right.
So pay attention to that. Like what is easy for you that other people struggle with? And obviously it depends on one's individual circumstances. I'm not going to say, you know, and so if you're, I don't know, if you're working away as a nurse, but you know that really you are a frustrated sculptor, sorry. I'm not going to say, you know, pack in your job and go and become a sculptor if you've got a mortgage to pay or rent or children to look after, but start nurturing that thing in whatever way you can. And the most important thing is start saying no to the stuff that isn't true to you. And being able to say no is one of the most common challenges I work with people, but it really is about tuning into, and it's why I wrote a book about it, tuning into what you want. So what you really want. And sometimes want means don't have.
Yeah.
So it means that which is missing. But what is it that you really want? What is it that you desire? What is it that gives you that little tingle, that makes your heart sing? And if you are working as a nurse, but you know that really you're a sculptor, then what could you do that nurtures that? You know, is there a pottery class you could go to? Could you go for a walk in the woods and pick up some fallen branch and whittle it away to create something when you're at home and everyone else is watching the telly? I don't know. I'm making this up.
But you've actually tapped into something really important when you said about saying no. So there's two sides of it. Yes, there's doing something that actually blends with your life, to start doing something slowly, but also saying no. And I think that's really crucial. There's a Dr. Mickle, I did a lot of research a couple of years ago when they thought I had ME. And it's an incredibly debilitating condition. You know, I had all the signs of it. But also a lot of people who have chronic fatigue, it comes under this rainbow of emotions that are not being registered, and then suppressed emotions, and then it's you know, finally manifests itself into physical symptoms, which debilitates people and stops them in their tracks. And one of his keys was to actually say no. And even though it wasn't what I had, but I started saying no, my symptoms, as well as changing my regime, my symptoms almost vanished over 3 months. And it's funny because I've actually started incorporating that back again. Hence why I've started filtering off work to other people. So I think that that's something really important. A part, you know, it's okay if we're doing the little things that are going to help us to start maturing into that purpose. But it is right that we have to start saying no, isn't it? Because we fill life up with so much stuff we don't need to be doing.
Say no. I said no to a hen do on Saturday. I said no to a baby shower because I hate baby showers. Just like, seriously? Like, I get it. Like, we want to hang out with our friends before they're going to have no life because they've got children and we're not going to see them forever. Like, because that's what most people do. I have a few really fabulous friends who go, I've just got a kid, I put it at a papoose, let's carry on doing what we were doing before. Yeah. But everyone's different. So I get like seeing your mates, but what's with all the balloons and the presents and the meh? Anyway, that's my little baby shower rant over with. It's just a bit meh. See your friends, it doesn't have to be a thing. But I said no to the hen do because it was the other side of town. I'd already said yes to a leaving do and a 40th birthday. So the leaving do was at 5:30, the 40th birthday started at 8, and I was like, okay, I can do them. And then the hen do came up, and it was the other side of town, and it was at 3, which I'd have had to leave at 4:30 to go. Well, no, I don't want to go. Exactly. Sorry, no, I can't make it.
So that is, again, that part of us is all tapped into our inner voice, which is that part that knows what's best for us. But we suppress that because logic says that other people expect us to be at certain places or do certain things. And that's where our downfall is, isn't it?
It's either, logic or societal pressure, expectation, but also your ego.
Yes,
Oh, but if I'm not there, they might have, so then there's loads of things. If I'm not there, they'll be really disappointed. Well, they've got other friends turning up. Sorry, you're probably not that important unless you're like their best friend, in which case, why aren't you going? You're not really their best friend. Or it's the ego of the fear of missing out. Oh, but they'll have so much fun, and then they're gonna have connections that I won't have. So there's different elements of pressure that either we feel from society or mostly we put upon ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's that ego fear of missing out or not knowing, or what might they say about me if I say no? Are they going to sit around and bitch and say, oh, Judith didn't come well, she obviously doesn't like you, does she? Da, 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 da. They're not going to do that. They're going to sit around, have an afternoon tea, make some cocktails and go dancing and have fun.
Sure. It's amazing the stories we create in our heads, isn't it? And I think, you know, as you you're aware, because you're in the media, you're in the public domain. It is the media, and it's social media as well, that has created such an epidemic of insecurity within people. And obviously the ego is greater now for many, many people. So, you know, you have a great attitude. You know, it is, you know exactly what you want and you go for it. And I think that that's something that is natural in you, but not natural in many other people. How do you help people to start to hone in on that and create that for themselves?
So it's partly natural in me. It's partly something I have to work at very hard, because there is a part of me that loves to be center of attention and likes to be at a party, obviously, because that's me. And obviously I don't belong. So I like to go to things to prove to myself I belong. But there's the knowing what you really want. So listen to your body, because your body will tell you. Like, if you think about something and you go, oh, you know you don't really want to go. But you have a choice. You always have a choice. And this is the coaching that comes in. To choose what you want. If you're feeling I should. Should is heavy. Should is duty. Okay? I want is desire. It's lighter.
Much different.
But that's how you can feel it and recognize it. So it's like, I don't want to go to that party. I just want to sit on the sofa and do nothing. Oh, that would feel so good. But this is where the choice comes in. It's connected to your deepest truth and your higher purpose. So your deepest truth is down here in your belly, your higher purpose up here, and that's what runs through you. So, for example, there was a really challenging situation for me at Christmas. And I got to the point where I thought, you know what, and we've never had this in our family ever. Christmas has always been lovely, but there's a situation going on at the moment, and my brother's dating his ex-wife. I find that challenging. I don't like her. But that's his choice, right? So that's my thing. But I'd also been in a bit of a slump, feeling a bit rough and heavy about other stuff that was going on in my world. And I just realized I don't want, at this moment, it was about 5 days before Christmas, I don't want to go right now. If I'm feeling like this, I don't want to go to Christmas, because my higher purpose is for my mum, particularly because she was hosting, to enjoy herself and have a lovely time at Christmas. And if I was there in the mood that I was in 5 days before Christmas, I would have not been conducive to my mum having the best time. So the best thing for me to do would have been to not go.
Yeah.
And I phoned her and I told her that. And she agreed. And I put it in those ways. So it's detaching the emotion is what I'm talking about here. So being connected to your higher purpose, what's really important to you, and detaching from the emotion.
Yes.
Because the emotion is, well, I can't stand her, and it's just really annoying, and that's all emotion.
Yeah.
When I take that away, my deepest truth is all there is love.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you've done. You've made the decision based on love, not on that emotion, which is, has created that.
So then I could say it to my mum with love.
Yeah.
But look, this is what I know. This is how I know, because I know my self-awareness is really important. So if you're not very self-aware, start going and doing some self-awareness, self-development, whatever you want to call it, work, because being aware, like I'm aware enough that I know that I would have taken it out in snippy snide, very intelligent, very cutting comments, either to my brother's ex-wife or more damagingly, probably to my mum. Yeah. So, and I didn't want to do that. I also then had an awareness that I'd done a really powerful sound healing the night before for solstice energy, which is about bringing up your shadow. And then when I realized that, I went, I've been releasing my shadow. Right, actually, there's still 5 days to Christmas, and on solstice, I'll be going to Avebury and sounding in the light. So actually, I'll probably be okay to go for Christmas. And in the end, instead of going down when I was going to on the 23rd, I went down mid-afternoon on the 24th, and I did go for Christmas, and it was fine, and I managed my conversations. So what I'm saying, for those of you who find saying no challenging, is really, really, really connect to whatever your deepest truth is and your higher purpose for that situation, because you know, there's a purpose for every situation and then a higher purpose. And try to step back from your emotions. So have an awareness of how you are, what you really want, detach from emotions, but connected to that deepest truth and higher purpose. And that will help you be able to express yourself in a way that when you're saying no, it's not a rejection of that person, it's for a higher good for everyone. Because actually, if you show up resentfully, then that energy is going to be in the room. Or you make the choice to go, like I did at Christmas. I made the choice to go, and I made the choice therefore to go in an energy of I have chosen and therefore want to be here more than not.
Exactly. And that's what Dr. Mickle talks about. It's saying no with loving disallowance. That's really key. But that's when you know you're going into your truth and you are saying it from a higher perspective. So I mean, it's I could talk to you for hours. You there's so much insight that I've learned from you, and I think you've touched on something really key. If people really want to push past their fears, they really need to go to someone who is a mentor, who is a coach, who can help them to dig deep and find something. It doesn't have to be some great trauma. It could just be something that's just needs scraping away and can open up and help them blossom. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you and find out, because I know you've written books as well, so to find out about your books, your workshops, and how to work with you on a one-to-one, what's your website, darling?
It's www.yourwholevoice.com. So whole as in the whole thing. As if you were playing charades.
Lovely.
Whole as in holistic. So your whole voice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Judith. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you again very soon.
Yes. Take care.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye.